Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Ask Mike Anything, the hour a week. If we have enough folks asking enough questions, the hour a week where you get to ask me, Mike, anything. And I do my best to answer it, whatever that question may be, whatever that burning question is within your soul. So go ahead, type it in the comments. While you're getting that going, I'm going to double check, make sure the feed is working right. On the Facebook at least, which means I got to pull that up and look. That looks like me. Let's see. Do we have sound? Sound. Where's the sound? Hey, there's sound. All right. Looks like me. Let's see. So that's working. All right. So go ahead, type in your questions, and I will do my best to answer them. If we don't get questions through, I got my handy dandy question cards that we can talk through. My what's in my cup for tonight is a non-alcoholic sangria that actually there's a funny story behind it. But so when I was in Bible college, when I was 18, 19 years old, we had curfews and things like that, but occasionally we would sneak out to do late night studying, and this was really studying, but we'd go to this a Mexican restaurant about a block away. It was open 24 hours a day. And the cheapest thing on the menu was French fries, and back then, like, you didn't have to pay for a side of guacamole kind of deal. So we'd get French fries and dip them in guacamole, and we would get these bottles of sangria that were non-alcoholic. And it was just the thing we did, and it was a lot of fun. My mom has had some acid reflux or something when she drinks wine, and so she's not drinking wine anymore. But she was at a store in town here in Ypsilanti, and she found these big liter bottles of sangria, and she thought, "Oh, I'll give that a shot." And she brought it home, and sure enough, it is the exact brand, except in a big liter bottle of the stuff I had when I was young and in college back in the day. And so that's what I'm having tonight. Little bit of nostalgia there. So go ahead, hit me up with your questions. I'm not seeing any in the comments yet, but I'm willing to take them. All right. Well, I'll start with a card then. Ooh, there we go, Pops. All right, I'll take that first. Is there a prayer you can say for the people in Minnesota? Yes. We can and should be praying for people in Minnesota and people in Michigan and people all over the place. Tennessee, so many things just in the last 24 hours. Man. So, yeah. Another shooting near in Minnesota, mass shooting in Tennessee, the COVID surge here in Michigan. There's a lot of prayer needs to be had. And I'm going to tell you, I am not, I don't think all police are bad. But there is a point where we have put way too much on the police. I think there was in the news here recently, Ann Arbor is looking at within the next year to have non-armed response units, essentially social care units that can go out on calls that don't necessarily require an armed presence, where an armed presence can tend to escalate things. I think there are a lot of things we can do better. It happens. It happens in the church, and that's my main sphere of understanding. But it happens. It happens in the church. We call it the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. And so what happens is you can't figure out who to get to do something. So you get somebody who's already doing something and willing to do something to take on one more thing. And we do that with the police. I know there's history. I know I get all of that. But we have done a lot where we have just put way too many things in the hands of people that are flat out not necessarily trained to handle those kinds of situations. So yeah, definitely we need to be in prayer for people in Minnesota, for people all over the place. What can I do for you, Braylee?
Well, I was just saying hi and also checking in and see if the person said hi to me.
You know who that is?
Who?
Can you read her name without knocking over my sangria?
Leslie.
There you go. Good job. All right. Are you going to say goodbye?
Bye.
All right. Trisha Walk, what do I remember about you? Oh, so if I remember correctly, Trisha, you were Marinette High School. I don't know if we were the same year or not. I know I was the same year as Tony Walk, who I think is your cousin. Yeah. It's been a while. But I do remember you, that you exist and that you were a person who I knew in high school. So, so there's that. Oh, you had a brother, right? And he passed away. Is it Tyler? Tyler, I'm really sorry. It's been 20 years. But there's a memorial golf outing for him. I remember seeing a lot about that. So sorry, I don't remember a ton. But yeah. All right. Other questions. I'm gonna go to cards. You type them up there. Okay. So this is what's something weird that you recommend everyone else tries at least once? So I'm going to preface this by saying I haven't tried this. Softball tournament. That was it. Softball tournament. Softball tournament for Tyler Walk Memorial. Yeah. So one of the things I want to do, haven't done it yet. So I'm going to preface it with that, but it sounds very much like what we could all use from time to time. So I used to watch a show kind of like the X-Files, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but Fringe. It was called Fringe. And every once in a while, right, they'd put somebody in a sensory deprivation tank, just so they could, access different parts of their mind, that kind of deal. It was weird sci-fi kind of stuff, right? But they have these things now as part of some spas where you can get into a sensory deprivation tank that is overly salted water that is at body temperature. And they close you in, and there's like a panic button if you need to get out. But they close you in, and you just float. And just given the stress of this last year, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to do, it sounds like. But I think just the ability to like close out stuff and just float like in nothingness sounds like a great experience. At least something to try once, you know? So that's yeah. All right. Leslie wants to know, if I wanted to pick up a new skill, what would it be? Honestly, I would love to like be able to play piano or drums, another instrument other than guitar, or guitar a heck of a lot better than I do. But like I watch Andy Song's videos as I'm putting together for worship each week, and I'm like I want to get my fingers to be able to move like that and play like that, but I just don't. I don't think that would ever, like, I have a hard time getting my fingers to spread out to get the guitar going, but it's definitely one of those things on the list. Like a useful skill, I'd probably like to be able to cook better than I do. Like I have a few things I can cook well. And probably like a hobby, I would love to have like my own wood shop, that I could hone skills in like fine woodworking. Because I remember liking to do that a lot when I was young. All right. Do you think social graces are slipping away due to very limited personal contact? Yes, but I think it was happening prior to the pandemic. Even before the pandemic, a lot of our social interaction with people happened on the internet, and people were getting rude. People were getting mean. People were getting all sorts of things with each other. I think probably what we're starting to see more is the way we interact online, kind of that feeling of anonymity and protection that an avatar gives us, right? We're starting to feel like maybe that's how we can talk to people in real life. And I have I got a new hat a while back that has an Irish proverb on it that says many a time a man's mouth has broken his nose. I have a feeling we're going to see some of that in the future, where people think they can be an internet tough person and wind up taking one on the schnoz. But yeah, some of those social graces are slipping away, but not just related to the pandemic. So do I wish I had hair like my dad? You know, my dad actually shaved his mullet recently, and is down to like a normal person's haircut. So a normal haircut like my dad has now, maybe kind of, sort of. But I actually like not having to worry about my hair. Yeah, it's more I worry about messing up when I shave the beard, which if Dave Weber logs on later, he's going to worry why my beard is so short. And it just happens sometimes. You're trying to shave things and they go a little lower, and you just got to even it out and go with it. So it grows back. But I've also done the Snapchat filter that takes away your beard, and none of us want that. None of us want that ever. So, yeah, no, I don't want hair like my dad. All right, another card. What do you consider your greatest achievement? That one is pretty easy. My kiddos. I love my kiddos. As much as they can be infuriating sometimes, sometimes. It is just to see them, to watch them grow up, to see the people they are becoming, is quite amazing. Yes, Beth, marrying Bree is also up there, and the kiddos wouldn't be here without her. So yeah, my kiddos. So it's interesting. We have a bubble that we hang out with, and this last weekend we got to spend more time than normal. There was it was okay weather, a little rainy or whatever, but their home has woods behind it, kind of all around it, and just getting to let the kids run and play. It was like, for me, it was the closest thing that I could like give them an experience of what it was like for me growing up, where I didn't have to worry about, like, it was, be home by when the street lights come on. Can't do that now. Just can't. And for them to be able to run around in the woods and climb trees and come back with cuts and scrapes and things like that is, and they don't care, and they're excited about it, was really, really neat. So I really appreciated that this week, and it just made me very, very proud of them to be able to let them go and do that and have fun. Leslie wants to know, favorite ice cream flavor, and where's your favorite place to get ice cream? All right. So if we're going like a Ben and Jerry's flavor, I tend to be more of a Cherry Garcia guy. If we are talking ice cream shop, our typical go-to would be Dairy Queen, and I like the vanilla or the chocolate or the twist. Pretty simple that way. But I do very much. We haven't done it much in the pandemic, but Go ice cream here in Ypsi is amazing. So I like that. Yeah. But I'm fairly simple when it comes to ice cream. I don't do ice cream a lot. My kiddos, on the other hand, we have to make sure and mark on the calendar. They have ice cream tonight. Okay, they don't get ice cream tomorrow night. So we got to do that kind of thing. How is the moving process going? Any word on the new pastors for your current churches? So the moving process is moving along. Friday we had the estimator from the moving company come and go through and check off how many pieces of furniture and all those things, so they can estimate the right size truck to send us. So we have all that rolling. It's tough because we're still living here and we're still working and still all of that. So it gets to be a little surreal at times and feel like we're not going as fast as we should. And then sometimes it feels like we're going too fast. Excuse me. So that's going. Any word on the new pastors for your current churches? No. So I talked to a friend of mine who's supposed to be hearing about a new appointment for him. And I would have figured, he'd have heard a month ago. But now he's being told maybe not even till the end of May, which is really pushing it, right? So there's I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs of what's going on and what the cabinet is dealing with. I know they're probably dealing with a lot more churches in financial hardship situations, especially when it comes to, can they afford a full-time pastor? Probably, but can they afford one and to pay for health insurance and the other things that have to come with that gets a little tricky. So yeah. That's, yeah. So we don't know yet. And that's, I know it's a bit frustrating for St. Matt's and Cherry Hill, and it's frustrating for me too, because I can't make a lot of decisions on how and where to leave things until I know who's coming and how that's all going to play out. So, but good question. Matt Witkowski, where are you most excited to explore when you're on the west side? Other than the breweries, right? That I hear are amazing. I wanna find a good Lake Michigan spot, kind of to hang out. I grew up on Lake Michigan in the UP, and that's very much like going home for me. So good lake spots, good for me, like good reflective prayer kind of places for me tend to be the bigger bodies of water. The biggest one near here is Ford Lake, and it's in the neighborhood, which is wonderful. But there's nothing like Lake Michigan. But previous to this appointment being in Ypsi, we were in Oscoda, which is right on Lake Huron, which was another big lake that was good to be able to be by. But I'm also interested there are hiking trails that I've heard about that are supposed to be pretty good, as well as what was it? Oh, our kids are excited about the zoo and Michigan's adventure. So lots of things over there. What is my dream car? So I always loved the 69 Charger, the Dukes of Hazzard car. Not necessarily with the flag on top, but yeah. So it was. I love that. I love the orange of it. Obviously, that's my color. I also like the older Mustangs. So, but I don't necessarily have one like, ooh, that's my midlife crisis car. No. No, I think the most I get is, and I probably already got it, is a midlife crisis guitar. So, but yeah, I'm hoping someday that I can have a car that is orange or has some orange on it. But short of that, I don't have it. Were you watching on YouTube? I loved your opening Sunday about your friend Josh. It was real to the point of self-reflection. It was. So some of you, if you watched Sunday service on YouTube at 11, you just got the sermon. I made a mistake in uploading, and just the sermon went up. But the full service is up there now, and you can see the music and the other pieces. There's special music from Hayden Carruth and other things in that service that make it worth going back for. But yeah. It was one of those weeks, and I had to be honest about it in the sermon. Like I couldn't get to doubting Thomas, because this forgiveness, forgiving and binding thing just stuck with me. Yeah, and sometimes that happens. And when it does, I feel like, well, if this is hitting me, maybe there's somebody else. And in sharing that, I can help to maybe set them free too. And that's, sometimes there are. So I've done Bible college and seminary did Bible college in the early between 98 and 2000. I did more in 2009, 2010, and then seminary, give or take the last 10 years. And the way they talk about how you preach has changed. It used to be recommended that you don't put a whole lot of yourself into it. You don't put your own stories in. You find other stories, or you create good anecdotes that people know are fictional, but they make the point. But slowly, over the last 20 years, it has become a little more common for people to open up. And my philosophy on it, at least for the last 10 years, has been, if I'm struggling with something, if something's hitting me, if I can show people how this scripture or this experience relates to me spiritually and how I use it, it may be something they can use, something they can find a corollary for in their life. Because the thing I've also discovered in 20 plus years of ministry and 40 plus years of life is that we often get in our own heads and think we're the only ones dealing with this thing. We're the only ones that have this struggle. We're the only ones that whatever, name it. And we do that, and it isolates us, and we feel alone, and we feel like we get desperate, and we despair, and we don't have hope. But then when we find out that other people struggle with it, go through it, come out on the other side, it becomes a different thing. There's hope to it. There is a way through. And it may not be the same way that this other person took, but there is a way through. And so that's an important piece for all of us to understand. Is we all have those stories. We all have those things deep inside ourselves that we don't want to share. I make a point, and this is probably the fifth time I've mentioned it on Ask Mike Anything, that I struggle with depression. There's no shame in that reality. We used to think there was, and we used to, and maybe some people still think there is. But it's part of reality, and I want people to know, I'm the guy that prior to COVID, I stand up front on Sunday morning and I talk about the goodness of God, and I talk about hope, and I talk about love, and there are days that are really, really difficult for me, but that doesn't negate the truth of those other things. And I can still see those other things, and I can still find those other things. And so as we go through life, it is important that we are open and real about the struggles that we have. Let's see. Next food truck is April 23rd, 4 to 7 in the St. Matt's parking lot. It is the Little Caesars pizza truck. They are back, and I don't have any scheduled beyond that at this point. The Good Eats food truck, I think, wants to come back. We just got to get scheduling done. Funniest story I ever told in a sermon. Oh my. I don't know that I could choose, Trisha, to be honest. I typically like dependent, like last week's sermon, I wasn't looking to get a laugh anywhere in it, but most of the time I'm going for a laugh somewhere. Let's see. Probably. So so funny story would be my parents getting me and my brother all the way to California for vacation, flying on multiple planes, the whole while thinking we're actually supposed to be going to Wisconsin Dells. And that is a long story. Not going to tell it now, but it did make it into a sermon once. I've done sermons where I'm wearing multiple layers of shirts and old football jerseys and things that come off, and that kind of gets people giggling a bit as I'm taking shirts off during the service. Yeah, there are times I will throw in pop culture references or super nerdy or geeky references that very select few people in the congregation will tend to get. So yeah, how did the California trip relate? It honestly, I know it did. I just can't remember what it was. Probably something to do. So I would use that illustration. I would use that story. If we're talking about, say, a passage where Jesus tells the disciples straight up, this is what's happening, and they don't get it. That's typically where I would do something like that. Because in that story, my parents never told us we were going to the Wisconsin Dells. We just, one of those magazines came in the mail and we assumed, right? So yeah. But yeah. They relate somehow. Let's see. Why does my mom hate it when I ask her what's for dinner? Maybe because she hasn't decided yet. In our house, when it's typically my mom that asks us what we want for dinner, and we are typically just saying whatever you're going to cook. Food. She hates it when we answer just food, something to eat. Yeah. Nisha, storytelling brings us into a deeper relationship with one another, utilizing storytelling in the church. Yep, it is. It is. Very much so. Have Michaela and Braley ever actually dialed a phone? No. Like play phones. Not like they know what they're doing. So, although I did, we were sitting around a campfire the other night in the driveway, and was telling the story. You can find these videos on YouTube of people my age talking to, kids Michaela's age, maybe a little older, handing them the old rotary style phone, hooked up to the phone and saying, here's grandma's number. If you can figure out how to call grandma on that phone in 5 minutes, I'll give you $100. Yeah. And they weren't able to do it. They weren't able to figure out how that dialing works. I get a kick out of that. Matt Witkowski, in your opinion, what are churches missing that would allow them to take the next step as far as being vibrant members of their community? Matt, I think part of that is finding real practical ways for the church to leave the building. Part of the equation is opening up the buildings for use by the community, but the other part is the church becoming a vibrant part of that community. We want to be able to slap the ministry labels on things, but I think if we have people who are going to go and spend time working with Habitat for Humanity, like it not. We have a day where this particular congregation just sends a crew and goes, right? But individual members actively engaging in these areas in the community that they're passionate about, and making sure that that they're using those opportunities to incorporate other people from the congregation new people from the congregation. Hey, this is a ministry I do. I go every Friday to a different Habitat house, and I help do the electrical wiring. And if you come with, I'll show you how to do some of that, and you'll learn, and you'll get to meet new people and be part of that community. So often we in the church, we think about just bringing people in to become part of our community. When really, I think we need to expand our idea of community, with not just the people that come into our walls and not within our walls, and not just the people that are in the immediate neighborhood, which is absolutely important, but it's not just about getting the people in the neighborhood into the church doors. It's about getting the people that are inside the church doors into the community. And I think a lot of times churches miss that. We get very focused on programming, trying to bring people into the church, into the building, as opposed to being the community. Exactly, Nisha, being the community. So yeah. What does your face look like when you have to say you like something but really don't and appreciate the food? You know, I don't know that that's been a thing for me. Like I'll try just about anything once. So yeah, I don't know. I probably like the thing I can think of off the top of my head that I'm not a huge fan of is olives. But I'm also the type of person that I know when I was a kid, I would not eat tomatoes or mushrooms or onions, and now I do those, and I enjoy those. And so every once in a while, I'll try an olive, and maybe someday I'll like that too. So yeah, I tend to have a pretty good poker face. So, you don't know that you'd admit what? Let's see. And yeah, it has been hard with COVID to get out into the community. But it's also a unique opportunity, I think, for churches right now. The two that I am currently the pastor of have not met in person. Have not met in person in a year, and more than a year, and still we're looking for ways to be the church. We're not regularly using the building, but we had Habitat for Humanity was looking for a place big enough for a couple of photographers to set up and safely do family photos for people. That was an easy, right? One of their first calls was to me to see about using one of the church buildings, because that was easy enough to do. They could schedule it and get people, and there's no payoff for the church. They don't pay us for that. We don't advertise. It's not one. It's one of those. We're part of the community. The Habitat's trying to do something nice for the community, and if we can help, we're going to help. Whether any of those folks ever step foot in that building for another reason. And so yeah, it's a difficult time, but it's also the time for congregations to rethink how they do things and how they've been doing things, because we can, worship in a myriad of ways that we have discovered in this time, but we also need to think about when when things turn, when enough people are vaccinated, when things are safer to be able to be in person again. Well, what can we do differently to make things more inviting for people? What can we do differently to make sure we don't become inwardly focused on a building again? Not that there's anything wrong with buildings. We all need places to go when it's raining, but it's important to be able to find those ways to be in the community, to be the community, and be involved in people's lives without them feeling like you're just trying to get them in the door and put money in the plate. So let's see. Yes, Karen, I just said that I didn't like tomatoes and onions and things growing up. I do now. That's all. Favorite app on my phone. Let me see. So mostly Facebook. I like to play Two Dots, and I like to play where is it here? Swipe Breaker. I like that one. Those are probably my main two games that I play. Otherwise, it's Facebook, a little bit of Telegram, a little bit of Slack right now, and probably my Safari web browser would be the big ones. Yeah, that's having a food bank that you're involved with. That's a great thing. Yeah. Anything we can do that can help people in need. It's it's not that you have to go. If people are able to come, that's great. But it's also so I just finished, and I put the books away. I just finished a mission class. And one of the things that that I loved about it was this idea of we get so much in our head that mission has to be us giving things to people, like giving food away or giving, and that's part of it. But there's also part of it that is empowering people. And one of the things that I love that St. Matthew's was able to do for a while was there was a vegan baker. The pandemic ended up shutting them down, but prior to that, they had spent they were spending a lot of money and just not able to get any traction renting commercial kitchen space. And I said, well, hey, I could talk to the church, and we got a commercial kitchen. You can use it, super cut rate, and we were able to do that. And it helped the church, had a little bit of rent money coming in, but more importantly, it helped this small business in the community, this dream, to be a reality much longer than it would have if they had to keep paying huge rates at the places they were at. So yeah, anything we can do is going to be good. If a train was traveling less than 130 miles per hour on a flat grade for 23 minutes and the incline rose 4 degrees for 12 minutes, what number did Jackie Robinson wear on his baseball uniform? I'm assuming it's 42, because that is my answer to every math question. So I've done Words with Friends, but people don't like it when I play Words with Friends because I tend to win. So Two Dots does have some difficult levels for sure. Did I give anything up for Lent? No, I didn't this year. I mean, yeah. It was, I grew up Catholic. And it was, no meat on Fridays. I've done the give up a TV show, give up technology. I've done things like that in the past. This year for me, personally, it didn't feel like a year where I could do any type of fast and feel good about it. Like it would have been doing a thing just to do a thing. And when it comes to spiritual practices, even in a season like Lent, to do the thing just to do the thing wasn't going to be healthy. So yeah. Sometimes you have to do the thing just to do the thing. Have a great night, Nisha. I look forward to talking to you in the future here soon. Sometimes, so there's a story about John Wesley going up to his bishop and saying, I don't have faith. How can I preach? I don't have faith. And the bishop told him, well, go and preach until you have faith. Fake it till you make it, was essentially the thing. And to a degree, sometimes you have to do that. You have to push through the thing. But it didn't feel to me like Lent this year was one of those things I had to push through and make sure I, gave up caffeine or whatever. So no, I didn't. Next year will be different. One of the things I learned early on in seminary that I absolutely love and still try to do to this day, not as formally as I used to, but still was, they used to talk about coming up with a rhythm of life. You set out, okay, I'm going to take the next 3 months and I'm going to focus on these two areas of my faith life, and I'm going to do it by doing this, this, and this. You have a start date, you have an end date. It's much easier, right? This is just going to be a season. You're going to do this for a season. And then you plan to put in a new rhythm, a new thing in a new season. It can be 3 months, it can be 6 months, it can be Lent, it can be whatever. But doing that is a great practice to get into. And it doesn't tie you into it that, I need to do the daily office. I need to do morning, noon, and evening prayer. And it has to be that. And that's the way it's going to be forever and ever. Amen. You don't have to do that. You can create your rhythm, your season. And I like doing that a lot. Who is the most influential person in your life? Well, that is a loaded question, Leslie. If we're talking about the person who has the easiest time influencing me, that is going to be a tie between Bree and Braylee. Braylee very much has me wrapped around her little finger most of the time. She knows it. I know it, but there's nothing I can do about it. And Bree is the love of my life. I will go to hell and back to make sure that she has what she needs, that she gets rest when she needs it, that if there's something I can do to make her life a little easier, I'm gonna do it. Now, as far as like if I'm reading somebody and that kind of deal, lately I've been a big I did Walter Brueggemann for Lent. That was very, very good. Richard Rohr, Father Richard Rohr, Catholic priest, author, contemplative, in the contemplative movement. Love reading his stuff, listening to the podcasts he has out there. Probably he's one of the biggest influences right now. Yeah. So, what are you most excited about and apprehensive about on your new assignment? Excited. I mean, everything about it is exciting. It's new place, new people, beautiful sanctuary, a town, Grand Rapids, that I have loved for a long time, and never really thought I would end up as a pastor over there. So I like all that a lot. Apprehension, most of that right now centers around the pandemic, centers around opening safely and that kind of thing. Yeah. Especially because I'll be going in, even though we're doing an active transition, and I have conversations with people, and we figure some of that stuff out ahead of time. There's still going to be a big curve for me to try and figure out when it comes to making some of the decisions. So there's some apprehension there. There's also, I was thinking about it today. So I've gotten very used to, in my ministry, the people at Cherry Hill and St. Matthews, they know me, right? They know me, they love me. I love them. And it's been one of those things where, somebody in the community says, "Hey, can we do this?" I say yes. Sometimes even before I run it by ad council, and we gotta do things retroactively, but I figured they would say yes, right? Easier to get forgiveness than permission. But there's a trust there. And that took time, right? That took time. So probably a little bit of apprehension if anybody from Trinity is watching and listening still. Part of my apprehension would be I trip over something out in the community, something we can do, and I say yes before running it past the right channels, before there is trust and understanding and those kinds of things. Because that to me is one of those things that can it can just be really bad. You say yes to something, and then you got to come back with a no. So I am actively working on phrases in my head of like, that sounds really good. Let me run that by the people I need to run it by. I think we can make that work, but I have to check on that. Because, and especially in COVID, right? If somebody just, hey, can we? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're not using it, and you're going to be safe about it. We can probably make that happen. Yeah. So anyway, got to work on that. That's probably an apprehensive piece there. All right. Hitting a card. You guys can still pop your questions up there. We still got a little bit of time left, but I'm gonna hit a card while you're thinking of stuff. If you could sing a duet with anyone, who would it be? Off the top of my head, I think I'd love to sing a duet with Wayne Brady. I think that would be fun. Just because he can do so many different styles and just quick on his feet. And I also think honestly, I think Wayne Brady and I could be best friends, and I think that'd be fun. So, very funny, very funny, very funny. Not you, Dad. I would not sing a duet with you. Because no. All right. I got one more card. I'm gonna do that, and we'll see what else you guys have tonight. All right. Would you rather spend a year living in a nudist colony or within the Amish community? That's actually not a hard decision. That is not a hard decision at all. I would rather spend a year living within the Amish community. Yeah, that. Yep. I would a year in a nudist colony for me would be a year of me averting my eyes and like covering myself and just very uncomfortable. Whereas in an Amish community would probably have a whole lot more opportunities for good spiritual growth for me. Carol, are you saying, how about singing a duet with you? I'd sing a duet with you, of course. But like if it was anybody, like we get to the point where we're all fully vaccinated here, Carol. You and I, of course, can sing a duet anytime you want. But like anybody, come on. Do I think 8 tracks will ever come back? No, and stop collecting them. Yeah. All right. Any other questions tonight? Oh, Alan wanted to know. Okay. Favorite day of the week and why? Right now is probably I'm gonna have to go with Sunday. Simply because by Sunday, typically the pre-recordings of worship are done, uploaded, and ready to go. And it can really be a day of rest. Yeah. Saturday is typically the most stressful day of the week because I'm putting all the pieces together. And yeah. This week is just going to be absolutely nuts, though. I have class this weekend. I have the conference meeting for transitioning of pastors. I have Zoom meetings with folks. Yeah, it's and it's getting down to the wire. It doesn't feel like it, but it is. And so there's lots of planning for the first few months in Grand Rapids, and there's planning for finishing up here in Ypsilanti. And so, yeah, just lots of stuff going, which is part of the reason we announced this morning that Fun with Faith is going to take its first ever summer vacation starting the end of April. So the last Thursday in April will be our last episode until the fall. And what it's going to look like in the fall, we don't know. That's the thing, right? And Bree and I have spent a little bit of time talking about how it would look and where do we set up the studio and how do we run that in amidst the new church schedules and all that stuff. And we can try and figure that out, but we're really not going to know anything until we're there. So we're just going to take the time off so that we have a little more time to focus on family, focus on packing, focus on closing out our time in Ypsilanti well, and then have time to get to know Grand Rapids and our new and I'm sure evolving schedules and how things are going to work there. So, yeah. Ask Mike Anything is gonna probably continue, because this, believe it or not, folks, this is a tiny little smidgen of mental health for me. To be able to, I mean, even seeing your names, getting your questions, things like that, it does my heart good. And I appreciate this time with you guys each week. So this will continue, and it's easy enough to do. I just need my laptop and my microphone, and we're good to go. So, yeah. All right. So continue. Check out Fun with Faith Monday through Thursday. Ask Mike Anything Monday nights at 7. Worship with me at 11 a.m. On Facebook and YouTube. And hopefully this week it will be, it will definitely be the right service the first time. And yeah. All right, folks. Have a great day, and we will see you next time.